Hello, everyone. This is Doug Wilkerson with Central Christian Center and Saturday Night Live Life Recovery here in Joplin. We have, of course, church on Sunday morning and Sunday evening, and we have home cell groups, Bible studies, life groups is what we call them, throughout the week. And also, we have our Saturday Night Live Life Recovery meeting here at the corner of Fifth and Virginia, right there at the parking lot. We meet at 6 o'clock every Saturday night. Those that are struggling, having difficulties with life, um, substances, behaviors, obsessive compulsive issues, even some emotional mental issues. We're here to try to help. Not that we can fix everything, but we're here to help each other because we're all fellow strugglers. Today, I wanted to hit a topic real quickly. Uh, I had a phone call, was needing some information, so I kind of did some thinking and some research, and so I thought, well, if everything works out right, I'd be able to jump on here and put a little podcast on. So anyway, today in Life Recovery Thursdays, this is 7/31/25, and so today's topic is from panic to peace, rebuilding confidence with when your children are away. A lot of people have a lot of struggles with being out. Um, having their children away from them, whether they're at camp or if they're on vacation, out for a holiday, going to school, going to stay overnight someplace, whether it's children, grandchildren, or kids or young people that you're taking care of. It's never easy, all the way up to and including when they get married. And even after they're married, it's there's still you have to um, address some of these things we're talking about here today. This is not in all and every detail, but here, let's see if some of this will help you. Hopefully, it will, and if it will, share it with other folks and let them know that it helped you. So, welcome to Life Recovery Thursdays. And life recovery means dealing with stuff in a life that's because life is messed up, it's messy, and we all have to deal with it. So if we don't deal with it, then it's going to deal with you, and you don't like that. Nobody does. So and our Life Recovery Thursdays is here to take psychology and the scriptures and let them come together and help and be some real help for your life, my life, everyone's life, whether it's in real struggles that you're having or in the biggest questions that you may be having. So today episode is you parents, grandparents, individuals that are caring for children, and that feeling that you have, that knot in the in the pit of your stomach when you feel that panic rising up. Do you know what I'm talking about? You feel it right now, that panic rising up when your child is with someone else. And I can remember times when my our daughter was we were shopping and they all of a sudden they come up missing, and you go into a state, right? You go into a state. And anyway, I have some stories about that, but so far so good. Thank God for His grace, His mercy, and His help. So we got several things we're going to be talking about here. 5 different things we're going to be talking about, and we're going to try to get to them real quickly because we got an appointment coming up here in a few minutes. So recognize the triggers. You need to recognize the triggers and what that means. So panic doesn't come out of nothing. Okay, there's a reason why the panic's there. Okay. And so you need to remember that you're not crazy if you have some of those feelings. So, we need to usually recognize the sense, what's going on, and it's a sense that we feel powerless in that moment. We feel fear, right? Uh, or it has to do with past traumas. Sometimes what's going on has to do with the past. Sometimes it has to do with the present. Sometimes it has to do with the future. So we'll touch on that a little bit. So the first step here to addressing our panic, our anxiety, which we're primarily talking about, or fear, we need to first be able to name it. You can't tame it until you name it. So name it so you can tame it. That's the beginning of it. You got to recognize it before you can begin to deal with it. Okay. So right off the bat, right now we need to say this to ourselves, to God, to somebody else. I feel afraid. Okay. So we recognize. So we get real. We get honest. Okay. Because God deals in honesty, right? And He wants to help us. So if we're lying to ourselves, to Him, how's that going to work out? Yes. Okay. So we have to recognize the triggers. And so I'm afraid, I I'm not in control here. Well, yeah. Well, when have we been in control? But sometimes we feel like we're in a little more control. But right now, when we're in a state of that panic, when it's rising up, we don't feel like we're in control at all. We are being tossed back and forth, right? So our mind is racing. Do you know what I'm talking about? Can you feel me? Do you know what I'm saying? Hey, you moms out there, you know what I'm talking about, right? You have all the what ifs. We are future casting or forecasting. We're reaching into the future with all kinds of fears because of situations and things and data that we have from the past, or from what we've heard, and so our fears rise up. Now, fears has to do with the future. Anxiety has to do with the past. Just a little way to kind of measure those things. So uh, it doesn't mean that you're weak if you have these signals that come up. Signals are good. Stop signs are good. Uh, Stop lights, go lights, yield lights, they're all good because they're there to help us. These signals are there inside of us, in our nervous system, to give us some signal about something. And this signal we're talking about here, we're feeling a little overwhelmed or a lot overwhelmed. Okay, so we have to address that. We can't just tap it down or go take some pills or drink something or try to ignore it, deny it, pretend it's not real, because we have to deal with it. If we deal with it, then we are able to have that peace that we're talking about. Remember, the title is From Panic to Peace. We can have that peace. Okay, we'll talk about that. And so identify the triggers helps. Okay, identifying the trigger helps. It doesn't fix it, it helps it. Okay, it begins the process, and it's a signal that our nervous system is overwhelmed. Okay, John 32, John 8:32 says, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you or make you free." So we have to first start with the truth, and by recognizing what we're feeling, what's going on, what we're thinking. What we're thinking, is it based on the truth, or is it based on uh, fears or lies? We'll be talking more about that. Number two, all right. So number one was recognize the triggers. Okay, recognize when you're overwhelmed, when the panic is starting to rise. Okay, the quicker you can step into it and deal with it, the easier it is to address. Not that it's easy, but easier. Number two, breathe, 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 and ground your body. We're going to be talking about breathing. We're going to talk about grounding your body. These are a couple of methods to try to help get control of yourself. We'll be talking about that. So your body needs to be calm down. We got to calm our body down, okay? Because your mind can't think when it's not clear, when it's overwhelmed. Because when we get overwhelmed, our amygdala kicks in and shuts down our ability to think. Okay, it shuts down our decision-making brain, and we just go into reaction. We react. Survival mechanism. We get overwhelmed, and we can't really think anymore. We're just in reaction. That's where we usually get into some real problems, because that's when we can do some harmful or unhealthy things. Talked to a person today, talked about getting overwhelmed and using substances to try to uh, put them to cope with their situation. The only trouble is, um, the method of trying to cope with their situation may have relieved the moment, but it multiply, exponentially affected their life negatively. You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. So we know the truth. We need to be focused on the truth. Is what I'm thinking? Is it based? Is it really? Is it really the truth? You can know the truth if you will ask yourself the question and dig down in it. I've done it. I've been there. I've lived it. Okay, it's not easy, but it is healthy. So um, know the truth, and the truth will set you or make you free. So so we're breathing. All right. So we got to breathe. And so one method that I've used, and you can use various different methods, but this particular method is what they call the box breathing method, and that is where you inhale to the count of 4, you hold to the count of 4, you exhale to the count of 4, and then you hold again to the count of 4, and you do that 3 or 4 times, and that starts to regulate your breathing, your heart rate, you get oxygen, you slow yourself down, your brain begins to clear, and you can begin to think again. So you're trying to regulate, because you can control your breathing to some degree, which affects your heart, which affects your entire body. Have you Probably a lot of you know that. So and so that begins to do that, and then and when you take that, when you inhale, you're inhaling more, and you're holding it. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you do it, and that begins to take control of your system. It works. Okay. Sometimes I even go to count of 8. Okay, just to control. But there, this recommendation here is box breathing of 4. All right, the next one is physical grounding, and this is a really neat method because it pulls your brain out of the past or out of the future, okay, and gets you into the present, and that's what we need, okay. And that is where you to ground yourself. 5 things you see. You look at 5 things you see. You see them. All right, 5 things. You count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see those. And see, when you're doing that, you're directing your thoughts. Okay, you're directing your thinking. So 5 things you see, 4 things you can touch. So you touch 4 things, and that does multiple things there, because now you have tactile stimulation, and you're touching different surfaces, and and you're counting there. 3 things you hear, you listen. So now you stop listening to your thinking on the inside, and you're listening to the outside. Okay, you're listening. Because we can direct where we're hearing. We can hear in the building. We can hear on the outside. We can listen for outside, and oftentimes, this, you can hear what's going on outside. And if you keep focusing on what's outside, you can begin to hear that better. So anyway, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell. You can smell different things, okay? And set and wait till you focus on that, and focus on scents or smells. And 1 is taste. You taste something. You can even imagine putting something in your mouth like a lemon, and you can taste the lemon right now. My mouth started watering when I said lemon, and so you can taste it. So that begins to ground us into the present. Okay, and you need to remember that when we need to be in the present, because that's where the peace lives. Peace lives in the present. God lives in the present. Okay, and so we need to be in the present instead of in the past or in the future. Okay, we need to be in the now. Yes. Okay, so we're in the now. We're grounded. John 14:27. It says, "Peace I leave with you. My peace I give with you. Not do not let your heart be troubled." Do not. Okay, that means there's something you can do about your heart. You can, you can, you can help it not be troubled. You can help it not be troubled. It says, "Do not let your heart be troubled." You can bring peace into your heart. And when you have that peace in your heart, it affects everything else and it connects you into that connection with God. Because when you're out of peace and you're in chaos, you're overwhelmed, you're disconnected, you're separated yourself from God. God's right here, but you're not connected. You know what I mean? You've been there, you've lived that. Okay, so let's go to number 3. This is halfway. Okay, good deal. Check the story in your head. We have to check what we're telling ourselves because we can be telling ourselves a terrible truth. The story is a story, and most of the time it's not factual. It's not true. Okay, we're making it up. We're letting our fears drive our thoughts. Okay, or our anxiety drive our thoughts. Okay, we're making it. Check our story. What is true? What do we know? All the time, my wife will be talking about something, and I said, "We don't know that for sure." So how can you say that? Well, because we don't know it for sure, right? I have people come up to me and they spout off something about a situation, and I said, um, how did you come by that information? Is it factual? Can I check it out? See, if I can't check it out and if I can't verify it, it's not true. And sometimes just saying that right there, they reverse their stories, if you know what I mean, right? Right. So we have to check our story, and we can even be telling ourselves on a story because we sometimes will try to scare ourselves. Can you believe that? There's a part of our brain that would do that. Okay. So sometimes we have to take control of our thoughts, okay, because our thoughts create how we feel, according to science. Our thoughts create how we feel, and how we feel affect how we behave, our actions. Okay, so we have to begin to ground ourselves. And when we can do that physical exercise by grounding, then that helps us to get a hold of our thoughts, our feelings, and our behaviors. Does that make sense? So we can do the breathing. That means we grab a hold of it with our breath because we can control our breath. Even when we're really wound up, we can begin to grab a hold of it. And then we do the grounding exercise to get us in the present. Okay, so anxiety loves to lie to us. How about those apples? Anxiety loves to lie to us. It distorts it. There may be a little bitty piece of truth in there, but it blows everything else out. And so there's more lies than factual truth, right? So that means it's a lie. So we need to say to our anxiety, I can't trust you. I can't trust that information. Okay. And if they're saying, well, you can't trust anybody, well, the fact of it is that's not true. Is that true? You can't trust anybody? There's nobody in the entire world that you can trust? How about yourself? Well, maybe not. Well, how about God? Well, how about how about a close friend? How about your mate? How about, you know, but we'll make a statement, a big, bold statement of, I can't trust anybody. Well, I figured out now I was raised in an atmosphere where I didn't trust. I didn't trust, but I finally came to the place where I said I trusted everybody a little bit. Now that may be difficult for you to accept, but I trusted everybody a little bit. And then, and at that point, that gives them an opportunity that we can build trust if they are a person that wants to build trust. Okay, but I'm not going to. I give them the benefit of a doubt to start, and thank God that God trusts us. He even knows us. Okay, but He still trusts us. So if sometimes we'll say, I can't trust anybody. I've heard many people say that. And if you're there's, if I'm not with my child, we're talking about child or my grandchild, then something bad's going to happen. Like, you can eliminate everything that might go wrong in the world. Okay. And sometimes we think that that's kind of imaginary thinking, right? And so we, and if we're not careful, we can create bad stuff to happen. Okay, because worry is negative prayer. It's praying for the negative because we're putting thoughts and energy into the negative instead into the positive. What do you think about that? I know, it's a tough one. Um, these are what we call automatic thoughts, automatic negative thoughts, which means ants. ANTS, ants, automatic negative thoughts. And these are thoughts that are not true. They are lies. They are distortions. Okay. And so, you know, here's how we should really respond when those automatic negative thoughts come up. I've prepared well. Okay. I prepared well. What do we prepare? We prepare our thinking. Okay. How we're going to think. All right. We realize when that stuff starts to rise, I then don't let it take over. I begin to think on what I've prepared to think about. My child is with someone I trust. Okay. Now that trust has been built little by little, piece by piece. Um, you know, small, small event by small event, and so that we can trust them. God. One of the things we can pray is God loves them. One thing I remember with my daughter, I had to tell myself, God, you love her more than I love her, and she's your daughter. I know she's my daughter, but she's really your daughter. And I've always kind of felt like I had control, but I realized I didn't really have control. I'm trusting you. I am casting my care about this situation over on you because you care for me and you're going to care for her, for them, for my wife. Even if I'm not here, I know you're going to take care of them because you're here, right? That's some of the truth. I've prepared well. My child is with somebody that I trust. God loves them more than I do. 1 Peter 5:8 says, and I've already quoted, cast all your anxiety. I circled your anxiety. Okay, anxiety is about the past. Remember, cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. You're not made to carry that. God says, hey, you give it to me, I'll give you back something. And what I'll give you is peace that surpasses understanding. We can't figure it out, but He can give it to us. We can have it. Anxiety, again, is based on the past, fears based on the future primarily. Number 4, rebuild confidence step by step. And that's what we have to do. We have to start somewhere. We have to start building this. We have to tear down that fear wall and start building a faith, confidence, trust wall. Rebuild that. So start small, little by little, one brick at a time, one piece at a time. Let your child go with somebody you trust, a person that you've already spent time with. You've watched them, you've observed them, you saw them, you give them, a short time. You test things out. There's been people in my family that I wouldn't trust people with. That these are, you know, uh, distant relatives that I can think of. I think probably is the best way to say that. Uh, not that they, not that. I think you know what I mean. I'm not going to go into it. Okay. Um, so we start small, take low risk times, and a little bit of that. What that does is what they call in the medical realm, they call it titrate. It's a little bit at a time. You do a little bit more, 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 and where you can begin to uh, tolerate the separation more. It's like when you're leaving your children in the nursery at the church for the first time. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's not just because you don't trust others, but kind of you don't. But at the same time, it's hard. It's hard to drop them off at school the first time, to daycare first time, in the children's church the first time. It's something that we have to get comfortable with and believe that God will be there to help them, and that you've given them the information to be able to help them to make decisions, because we all got to learn how to live. I know, not yet. That's how what we say. But when we're talking about dealing with anxiety, that panic, okay, we're going from panic to peace. Okay, let's look at the notes here. All right, a way of doing this is by journaling. Okay, putting down the facts, because sometimes we remember the bad so clearly, and we don't even remember any of the good. We're not able to mark the good. I always called it mark the good. Okay, and um, so you have one of these trips, and you journal anything that went wrong. Yeah, what went wrong? Well, what went wrong? How did it go wrong? But how, how bad was it? Was did what was the issue? Okay, you mark that down, and then you look at what went right. What went right? Mark it down, write it down. What went right? See where it's at. Then you have to make course evaluate it and look at it. What helps you to cope? This is very important. What helps you to cope in the middle of that? Was it just maybe going for a run, or calling someone and talking through some of this, and they kind of talked you off the ledge a little bit? What helped you, which was basically a distraction from your ants in your head, those automatic negative thoughts, because those ants will eat you up, right? Those automatic negative thoughts. So each time you have an experience, it builds more confidence, that confidence muscle. Okay, and then don't wait for perfect peace to come. Okay, don't wait for the perfect peace. Okay, walk in the practice peace. You have to practice that peace to build that peace connection up, that you can trust that. Yes, isn't that true? Yeah, yeah. We must focus on the good instead on the bad, because if we focus on the bad, it's like I've told you before, when I rode down that bike when I was 10, 8, 9, 10, and I was on an English racer and those little bitty thin wheels, and it was a 26-inch bike, and I wasn't all that tall at that time, and I saw the big old chug hole, and I couldn't take my eyes off of it, and I said in my head, I don't want to hit the chug hole, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It's kind of like us. We look at all the bad, and what did I do? I didn't do what I wanted to do. I did what I was afraid of, that I'd hit that chug hole. And I had all kinds of room on both sides of that hole, but yet I couldn't take my eyes off of it. So the fear gripped me and guided me right into that hole. You know how that works, right? So remember that peace isn't the absence of fear. It is the presence of God. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Doesn't mean there isn't evil around, but I don't have to be afraid of it, because you are with me. Your rod and your staff. That's the guidance, and also the weapon, the rod and staff. They protect me. You anoint my head with oil. That's that healing comfort ointment to help me mentally, emotionally, physically. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Yes, we're in his presence, wherever God is, right? So Isaiah 26:3, He says, you will keep in perfect peace those whose mind are steadfast or stayed or kept because they trust in you. If you trust in him, you focus in him, you keep your thoughts lined up with him instead of out in the future or back in the past. If you stay focused on him, you say, well, then you're pretending. No, I'm focusing on the truth. I trust, but I verify. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, it's a process. Okay, don't. I'm not saying be stupid. No, but I'm saying trust the truth and follow what your spirit tells you. So my spirit says, keep them with me. I understand. I understand. How's that working out? What is that? How's that play out? Okay, there's a process. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. That's between you and God. I'm just trying to help you with going from panic to peace because that's what you want. I believe that's what you want. Okay, so let's wind this up. If you're struggle, if you struggle with panic, and a lot of us do, or control, you want to be in control. You think if I'm in control, then I've got it. But the fact of it is, what do we really control? We can't control anything outside of ourselves, and we can't control very much inside of ourselves. We can control our breath most of the time. We can sometimes control our thinking, but we can't control our thinking if we're not controlling our breath. So we try to do what we can do, and when we get if we're able to get mentally, emotionally control of us, get clear, has some clarity, then we're able to affect, not control, but affect those things around us. And that's what we really, really want to do. So if you're struggling with those things, you are not crazy. You're just human. And you let your humanness kind of pick you up and carry you away like a wave in the ocean. And you're not alone because there's a lot of folks in that. And see, because we are designed to recognize the threat, okay, survival mechanism. You recognize the threat and respond to the threat to try to keep alive. But the trouble is, after a while, then we see everything as a threat, and we never stop seeing it because we can imagine the threat. So we have to recognize: is it a real threat, or is it an imaginary threat? Is it out of the past, or is it boogeyman in the future? What's real? And we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it. And if we do that, then we're able to have that peace that we're talking about. So yes, we all do that. And with time and with truth, because if we believe a lie, then we overreact. That's that lion anxiety we were talking about a while ago. And then we have that trust. We have that trust in God that he will lead us and guide us in all that truth that he has for us. And you can experience freedom, real freedom. So, moving from panic to peace, okay? It's not easy, but it is healthy. It's work, but you can do it if you choose to, but you have to choose it. You have to stay with it. Yeah, you have to ride that wave, okay? Okay, it's difficult, but again, it's healthy. Because if you are loading yourself up with stress, you're killing yourself, right? We know that. I got to stop here. I think I have enough time to get back to the office. So if this has helped you today, tell a friend, share it, let other people know. And also, I know I haven't been here for a while, but we've had nonstop interruptions, funerals, other things that's affected me. And so anyway, today, here I am. Hopefully I'll be back next week. I want to be, if I can, because I want to be a help to you if I can. And I believe that I can be. So may the Lord bless you and keep you. And may his peace shine upon you and give you his peace until we're all back together again. May the Lord bless you. Make healthy choices. Okay. Till next time, God bless you. And hey, be good to be in church Sunday. And of course, some of you like to see you here at Saturday Night Live, 6 o'clock. Till next time. Bye bye.